We'll get started. Thank you all for coming. Do you want to call the roll then? Yeah.
Trustee Kalafis? Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Trustee Arnett? Trustee Mills? Present. Trustee Moore? Present. Mayor McCloud?
President, please rise for this pledge of allegiance. Trustee Stanton, you want to lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we have most of the village board here, and we have the police chief and several other officers who will also be involved in this discussion. Our village attorney, our engineer, is there at the end. And our village manager is stuck by a freight train. It shouldn't have freight over. Imagine that. Imagine that, yeah. So without any further ado, we'll turn it over to Chief Cawley, and she can talk about the police activities up here.
Okay.
What's going on?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. Thank you for coming. Our plan is to do this more often. We're going to actually start calling these beat meetings. And so, you know, we recognize that every area of town has different challenges and different things going on. So we kind of wanted to narrow it down and divide into different areas. So obviously you guys have different things going on than North does and South. So I will say that you guys live in a very, very good area. We're happy to say that we feel like it's a very safe area. But there are some issues that we wanted to address. And there's some things that we wanted you guys to be aware of and some things that we can help. We call it hardening the target. So, so crime does not happen in your area. So first I'm going to go ahead and introduce a lot of our command staff here. They came on their own time. They thought that it was important to be here. So I'll go introduce them from left to right. Jim Thomas is our assistant chief. He oversees our investigations division as well as a lot of other areas, grants and such, in the police department. Then we have Mark Wandakowski, Sergeant Wandakowski. He's our traffic sergeant, and he is in charge of a lot of times complaints with speeding autos or just constant traffic problems and serious crashes. Then we have Lieutenant Scott Lawrence. He is our investigations commander, so he is overseeing investigations large and small. Hello, village manager. That's our village manager, Eric Palm. Yeah. Then we have John Benning, Lieutenant John Benning. He is our watch commander at night. He is overseeing the patrol division and the activities and the operations at nighttime. Lieutenant Suzanne Levin, next to him, she's our daytime watch commander. So she's overseeing the operations during the day. And then we have Officer Matt Park. He is our communications, community relations officer. He deals a lot with neighbor problems, just ongoing conflicts that, you know, one 911 call may not resolve. And then we have Officer Matt Park, Matt Jones, I'm looking at Park. Matt Jones is our DARE officer, but he's also our community relations officer. He deals with a lot of the same things that Matt Park deals with. We also have our fire chief here, Alan Wax. So he came, thank you. What we're going to go over today was we did the introductions. We're going to review some of the current things that are going on in your specific area, what the police department is doing, some of the initiatives that we're doing to keep you guys safe, things that you guys can do, like I said, to protect yourselves. If anybody watched this meeting that we did up north, I apologize. A lot of it is going to be repetitive, but it really applies everywhere. So a lot of it is going to be the same kind of stuff. And then we have some new initiatives that we've been working on that we want to let you guys know about. Again, here's our introductions. If you picked up a PowerPoint copy, there's our emails and our direct phone numbers are in there. So you can feel free to contact any of us at any time and you guys will get a quick response. So recent criminal activity in your area. We did have several in March, May, and August. We had several incidents of cars that were broken into. But I will say, with the exception of one vehicle where a window was broken and it seemed like a fluke thing, it did not seem to go with the rest of them. These have all been unlocked cars. So all unlocked vehicles. Some of the cars that were stolen, because there were some that were taken, had the car keys in the car. So one of the things like we'd like to get across is we're out there patrolling, we're out there saturating the area, but it really helps us out a lot, like we said, to harden the target, to lock your cars. A lot of these people are looking to steal a car, but they're not looking to cause any damage or do a lot of work to get into the vehicle. So they're just pulling door handles. They're driving down the street, they're pulling a guy or two, most of them are juveniles, will get out, pull the door handles and see what they can get inside. There have been several arrests in these matters, specifically for the cars that were actually stolen. Most of them have been recovered in the Rockford area. So in the Rockford area, it seems like these cars are going there. A lot of these juveniles, we believe, are from the Rockford area. One was from Milwaukee, who are coming, going wherever they can go. It's happening in Elgin, it's happening in Schaumburg, and just hitting these areas that they feel like they can get into these cars. Where they've been successful in the past is where they're coming back to. So that's why, and you can see all the different cases in there, but that's why we're encouraging you to lock your vehicles, don't have your keys in your vehicles, and Officer Matt Park is going to go a little bit more into detail on that. So what are we doing to help prevent this and other things? So our patrol efforts, what we do is we saturate the area. We have our officers out there patrolling constantly. If we identify an area where we have a lot of things going on, like these car break-ins, we will, saturate the area with our guys, especially for a period of time, to just constantly doing patrols. A lot of times these cars, our squad cars, are unmarked squad cars. A lot of times you will not know that we are the police. We're out on foot patrol, we're out on bike patrol. We've actually had 911 calls with people saying that there's a guy in jeans and a black shirt, and it's one of our detectives or TAC guys, which is great because you guys are paying attention to what's going on. But I just want you to know that there are a lot of officers out there that are not looking like this in uniform in a squad car. So directed patrols is what we're doing. We're in directed areas, specific areas, to combat any crime that's going on there. Then our investigations division is working on the cases that we do have. And like I said, there have been some arrests. They're building cases with evidence. There's a lot of evidence that goes into these cases, as you can imagine, with cell phone towers and such, which take months to get back sometimes. But they are working on those cases, and our tactical teams are doing roaming patrols constantly out there. We do work with surrounding communities, so like I said, this is not just something that happens in Hoffman Estates. It's happening in Schaumburg, it's happening in Elgin, it's happening everywhere. So we are working with other towns to build these cases together and have stronger cases where we can, take a large amount of car break-ins and charge them all at once. So we share information with other towns. We have avenues that we are working with surrounding towns. I'm going to have Officer Matt Park come up and give you some safety tips.
Thank you, Chief. Can you guys all hear me? All right, perfect. First of all, I just wanted to thank everyone for putting on this meeting, right? And thank you guys for coming out. This shows your commitment to safety within your own neighborhoods, because we as police, we know that we can't do this alone. It's about the community and police working together. So some of the things, if you guys have ever attended any of our neighborhood watch meetings or get-togethers or anything like that, some of the information will be repetitive. And we get comfortable, right? We make mistakes in police work. We call it complacency, and it's what we try to avoid. So that's what we're doing today. If you heard me say this before, I apologize, but there's probably a good reason, right? So I'm going to repeat it again. The first thing I'm going to talk about is this. This is what we call a crime triangle, right? When crime is made up, when it's being committed, there's typically three pillars, right? Three legs that make it up. There's the opportunity, there's the ability, and there's the desire. If we can work together in order to attack at least one of these legs, crime cannot occur. It's as simple as that, and it's really how police work works, right? It's what we do. So desire is the base, right? It's on the bottom. It's what drives people, right? Whether they have the desire to want to commit a crime, that's what we consider difficult to curb someone, right? To drive them in a different direction. If that offender wants to commit the crime, if they have that desire, I can only do so much to try and change that, right? Something as simple as seeing my police car rolling through the neighborhood might curb their desire, right? Definitely. Examples on the street would be, I'm sure we all slow down. I even do this when I see a police car, right? It's just a habit. So there's opportunity and ability. Opportunity is another side, and it exists in combination with other components. A person has a chance to act on the desire. Opportunity is something that we can cover as people, right? Opportunity can be looked at as, just like Chief Cawley had mentioned before, doors being left open, keys left in vehicles. It could be something as simple as us not locking a window, right? Forgetting things like that. That opens and gives offenders opportunities to commit these crimes, right? So if we can cover those bases, then we can in turn, right, get rid of this opportunity leg, thus preventing crime from happening. An ability that usually is something that we can sway as well. That really goes under whether people have the ability to do so to commit the crime, whether it be the possession of certain tools, whether they are just able in general as a person, right? If we can crush any of the desire, opportunity, or ability together, whether we're police officers or people in the community, then we can thus kind of curb crime. So first thing I'm going to talk about and how we do this is protecting your home, right? Some of these seem very basic, and I don't want anyone to consider this presentation as, oh man, do I have to live in fear? I'm in Hoffman Estates. No, right? But we love to educate people in our community, right? So I'm not telling you to live in fear, always looking over your shoulder. We just want to educate, and we just want to be more vigilant, right? The world is changing, so do we. So there's a few points that I'm going to go through. Lock your door, even if you're just leaving for a few minutes, right? I remember growing up as a kid, leaving our front door open, going to my friend's house down the street, right? My parents knew what was going on. My neighbors knew what was going on. Unfortunately, we don't live in that day and age, right? Leaving a door open is a great opportunity, right, for someone to act on. If I come through that neighborhood and I have a desire to commit that crime, and my ability is, I'm a pretty fast guy, I might be faster than you, that opportunity shows itself where I can run into your house, snatch something, and run out, right? And I don't just mean doors. This can go in, side by side with things like garage doors, backyard fences, right? That's a big thing. People have some valuable stuff in their backyards even, right? Leave a radio or TV playing softly while you're not at home, right? This is big. This is another thing of curbing someone's desire, right? When people are home, right, it's just common sense. People are less likely to want to commit that crime, right? When they see that light on, when they see that flickering of the TV, when they hear the noise of people being home, talking, whether they're listening to a radio, watching TV, or just talking to their own family members. It's important. It's something small, right? And you might say, it's not really energy efficient. I think you're going to save a lot more money just leaving a TV on versus having your home burglarized, right? Lock or secure your doors and windows when you are alone or asleep, right? This is something that we preach even within our own police department, right? Especially with businesses. Our guys, you'll see often, not only checking the neighborhoods, but you'll see a lot of our officers getting out on foot and even just pulling on door handles, right? Because even business owners forget to lock their own doors, right? Then we can contact the key holder and handle that matter. Obviously, we won't be going around pulling on residential doors. That'd be kind of weird. But definitely a tip for you as a community, right? Check your doors, make sure they're locked. It's kind of like, I think of it as like the stove, right? Or for me, it's my garage door. I always forget if I close my garage door, I'll be down the block or two, and it's really annoying, but I know I have to turn around, and what do? I see my garage door closed, but it gives me a little peace of mind. So always double check, triple check. It's just a good habit. Do not let strangers inside. That's kind of something I'll talk about in a later slide, but ruse burglaries, right? I hope no one has been a victim of any one of those. Again, don't live in fear. Just be informed, right? Be vigilant. But don't let strangers inside, right? It doesn't matter whether they're wearing some sort of ID badge, or I could go to Walmart, buy a hard hat and a reflective vest for 15 bucks and say I work with ComEd, or I'm from the Geek Squad from Best Buy and I got to take a look at your modem, right? That's a big no-no. Even if you know someone else is at home, right? It's okay for people to ask for IDs, show proof, right? It's weird when someone is hesitant to do that, right? Why do you need to see my ID? I don't know who you are, right? It's normal. So arrange vacation checks with the police department. Now I'm going to ask you guys this. Anyone who has been living in Hoffman Estates, who knew, by raising your hand, who knew that this was a service that the police department offered? Vacation check. All right, look around, see how many hands are raised up, right? Awesome, right? I didn't know this was available either. I do it in my own home. I did it. I saw an officer walking around my house when I was on vacation one time. So what it is if you are going to be away from your home for an extended period of time, you can call our front desk and you can arrange a vacation check. You can make it as detailed as possible, right? I'm going to have a silver Honda CR-V and a Dodge minivan in my driveway. Here's the colors, here's the plates. I'm going to leave these lights on a timer, and they're going to turn on at 6 p.m. in my kitchen and, left bedroom window. And then all my outside lights should be on. All my windows are going to be closed. Blinds are going to be closed. It can be as detailed as that. We will take those notes, and that's what we pass along to our day shift and night shift officers. Whoever is working that beat or that area will then take those vacation checks physically with them, or we'll put it on the computer. And when they have time during the day, they will note that they checked your house, right? To what we do as police officers, what we'll do is we'll put ourselves out at the residence, hop out our vehicle, and do a physical inspection, right? If you have gated fences, we'll go past, make sure there's no broken windows, broken doors, any signs of forced entry, anything like that. And again, like I said, this is completely free. It's really simple to set up. You could just call our front desk. Great service. I did it when I went on vacation, and my camera, I saw a police officer going around, and I was like, man, that's awesome. Good peace of mind. Last thing, call 911 to report suspicious persons or activities. I can't stress this enough. I'm going to say it again. Call 911 to report suspicious persons or activities, right? One thing that really bothers me, and I know it bothers a lot of police officers, is when we speak to a member of our community and they say, oh, well, I saw this, right, last week, but I didn't want to call you guys because I didn't want to bother the police. Oh, my gosh. All right. Don't ever think you guys are ever bothering us. We love the work, right? We love the work. It helps us kill time, and sometimes it gives us something to do, right? And, right, this is what we're here for, right? To protect and to serve, right? Call 911. If something is weird to you, you guys know your communities 100 times better than we might, right? I might not be permanently assigned to that beat, but I kind of know the neighborhood. You might have grown up there for 30, 40, 50 years of your life, and you know it like the back of your hand, right? If something gives you that weird, queasy feeling in your stomach, and you feel like, oh, maybe I should call 911, who is that person? What is that car doing? Call us, right? We'll come by, we'll ID the person. If it is connected to any sort of crime in the past or in the future, that way that person's information or that vehicle information is tied into our report system. So just peace of mind, right? Call 911. Don't be nervous. This is what I'm going to go back to, right? Letting strangers inside your house, ruse burglaries. Offense is committed when a con man spots someone out in their yard, shopping, or driving, right? The reason I say that is because there's been instances where, and not in Hoffman, I'm just using it as an example, people being followed home, right? I can case a person just by looking at them in the grocery store, right? It might be, in most cases, it's an elderly person, right? Following them home, seeing where they live. They attempt to distract the homeowner's attention. Thus, during this time, a second or third person or a team then enters the home and steals valuables such as jewelry or cash, right? I'm going to go back to my example of being a ComEd worker, working for NICOR, working for AT&T. I can make it up, right? I can go online, I can print out a badge, I can put my face on that badge digitally, I can print it out, buy a sleeve, lanyard, go to your house. I could say, hey, so-and-so, I noticed there's something wrong with your gas meter. I need you to come with me outside and go check your gas meter with me, right? Then you leave your residence, you follow me to the backyard. While that's going on, I have 2 or 3 accomplices getting out of their vehicle, right? Going into your residence, because I know it's unlocked and I know it's unoccupied, and rummaging through your stuff, right? So again, this kind of turns back to don't be afraid to ask people for their IDs. What's nice about Hoffman Estates, again, our village requires you to have a permit for any sort of soliciting, right? They have to have permits, and I believe they have to have some sort of identification to ID themselves. And again, if you still feel weird, you guys can call 911, right? I don't know how many times I've been dispatched to these types of calls just to ID someone, right? If the worker feels like it's a hassle to them or anything like that, let us do the explaining, right? We can explain it to them. We don't want any people to kind of go out there and be a vigilante or put themselves in harm's way, right? We can explain to them, hey, they're just being cautious, right? Making sure this is what we've seen. So this is a trend. Just be cautious with that, especially if you're by yourself, especially if the person is very persistent, right? Don't be afraid to call 911. We could check up on them. I enjoy those calls very thoroughly. So, auto burglary prevention, definitely something we've all seen, right? Again, these might sound like some basics, but just like some police officers do, right? and we're all human beings, we become complacent, right? So this is just use this as a reminder. Auto burglary prevention, place items out of sight. I can't say that enough, right? Place items out of sight. Of course I'm going to do that, Matt. I'm not going to leave my laptop on the seat. I don't know how many times I've seen laptops left out. When GPSs were big, people would leave them in the windows. Cell phones, wallets. I don't know why people leave a wallet in the car, but I have seen that before. Just like Chief Cawley said, keys, right? Technology is becoming crazy. It's growing, right? And sometimes it just makes things so easy and we become forgetful, but we just have to stay on top of that. Place items out of sight. It's really easy to slide something into your glove box or under your seat. Lock all your doors even if you plan to be gone for a few minutes, right? One thing that really bothers me when I'm driving around, looking around, is when people leave their cars in the fire lane going into a grocery store with the hazards on. Keys are in it, right, because I physically see them. No one else is in the vehicle, right? If I have that desire, then the opportunity and the ability is there, right? You gave me the opportunity and ability. I could hop in, keys are in, I could take that car, see ya, right? Lock your doors even if you plan to be gone for a few minutes. It's that simple. Take your keys with you, boop, boop, lock it with your key fob, and call it a day, right? Better to be safe than sorry. Never leave your car unattended with the engine running, right? Again, I can't say that enough. I just talked about that right before. Never leave your car unattended with the engine running, right? I don't care if you drive for Uber. I don't care if you guys have friends or even children or anything like that drive for Uber or any sort of DoorDash or any of those like food services. It's just unsafe. It's easy, right? If I have no desire to commit a crime and I'm noticing it, most likely these people that are constantly looking to commit these crimes, they're hunting, they're stalking, right? We just don't want to make it easy for them. That's what it comes down to. Do not leave valuables such as wallets, keys, or checkbooks in your car, even while you're parked in the garage, right? Even when you're parked in the garage. I put that because that's what I do, right? With my personal vehicles. My garage door, I close it. When I park my vehicle inside, I lock my car, right? I lock my car even while it's in the garage. I take my keys inside. I leave no valuables in my vehicle, even when it's in the garage, right? I tell my wife to do the same thing. I tell my mom to do the same thing, right? It's just a good habit. And again, I'm not telling you to live in fear. We as police officers, we just use these as examples for people to learn from. That's how we learn, right? I'm going to give you an example. I think it happened, I want to say maybe around Arizona. I saw a video of, there was some burglars, right? Vehicle auto burglary going on. And the people that were burglarizing the vehicle, they had an antenna. They made a makeshift antenna. They held it up to the garage door. They were able to catch a signal of the key for the car that was parked outside, and then they unlocked the car that was outside and drove off in it, right? So criminals are becoming more brazen. We just have to be more willing to be able to stop them, right? Take your stuff inside. Just because it's behind a garage door doesn't mean it's safe, right? All right, and the saying is, right, you can tell by the pictures, hide it, lock it, or lose it. Also be alert of online trends when it comes to fraud, right? Fraud is something not only Hoffman Estates has seen, but police departments all around the nation, right? Fraud trends are big. If we're not super tech savvy, I am not, right? These links, these email addresses, these phishing scams, they seem very legitimate, right? You could just see by the examples. Your refund is added directly to your account. View balance below. You might click that ad and it might take you to an actual link that the offender has access to, and you might end up signing in with your username and password and allowing them to see what your username and password is, right? You have $150 in cash value from Amazon expiring in 3 days. It might be the same thing, signing on to your Amazon. Now I can purchase as many items as I want under your account. You have no idea who I am just because I have access to it. We see this in emails as well. People can make a faux or fake email, and you could change it by one letter, one period, anything, right? Add any sort of character. I've heard of instances where people added like an S to the last name, right? So my last name is Park. They might make it Parks. You might see my email. You and I might be someone who has emailed and talked back and forth often. You might not think twice about my email. You might say, hey, I see Park at AOL.com. I know this guy. Cool. Oh, he needs this. we need to change our account information. Cool, I'll send the account information over, and that has nothing to do with our actual email, right? So just be cautious about links, about weird accounts. Usually you're better off just kind of deleting and blocking that number or that email address wherever it came from. Opening a link, and again, I'm not super tech savvy, I don't really know how it works, but sometimes even accessing the link will allow people into some of your private life, your private information, right? They can access your computer, so just be cautious of that. One thing I also had at the police department is the Neighborhood Watch program. I know I've spoken to some of you in this room about it. So Neighborhood Watch, people might think, oh man, this is a big commitment. I don't have the time. This is why we have the police. Again, just to reiterate, right, it's not me, it's not us doing the work. It's more of a we situation, right? What do we do when police are trying to figure out a crime or solve a crime? We go out into the community. We talk to neighbors. We see who has cameras. We see if anyone heard anything, saw anything, anything like that, right? So even in some of our biggest crimes that we've worked on, it was through the community that we were able to help solve it, right? Neighborhood Watch is a group of residents or businesses working together to make their neighborhood safe. It's as simple as that. Just like you guys coming out here, this shows me that there still is a willingness for people to want to better their communities. A Neighborhood Watch can consist of a local group of businesses, a block of residents, or even apartment tenants, right? So sometimes I'll work with management groups within apartment complexes, and they'll send newsletters or emails to all their residences that live within that apartment complex as well. The group can be as large as 50 people or as small as 4. Whatever works to keep your area safe, secure. The biggest thing is just communication, right? And this helps kind of primer and start that relationship of transparency, right? Just today I took a call for a person that is a Neighborhood Watch member, and they noticed some police in their yard, right? In their area, I should say. They wanted to know what was going on. It wasn't anything big, so I gave them a call, right? They have access. We talk regularly, things like that. I know our police department works very hard in terms of trying to meld that, but sometimes people are nervous, right? I don't want to call the chief. I don't want to call the front desk. When we do a Neighborhood Watch program, it kind of gives us that relationship of, I'm not Officer Park. You could just call me Matt. Let's talk. Is there a problem? I'll help you figure it out. So that's what it really helps to open up, communication within the community. Hoffman Estates Police Department also has a lot of resources. We wish the community and hope the community will start to utilize more so, right? Not that it already hasn't been. We also have a tip line. When to call the tip line. Information regarding suspicious activity that is not immediately occurring, right? That is not immediately occurring. Why I say that is because I've seen messages on the tip line say, hey, here's a text. I saw this weird guy on the street 3 days ago. Can you check it out? And then we say, 3 days ago? That guy's long gone. What are we supposed to do with that, right? What would anyone do in that situation if you saw someone weird walking down the street? You could blurt it out. Fantastic, I heard it already. Call 911, right? So information regarding suspicious activity that is not immediately occurring. Strange trends noticed within the area, such as vehicles or activity. Again, you guys know your communities much better than any of our police officers do, right? If you notice something weird, right, unusual amount of traffic coming and going, unusual amount of people coming and going, that is weird, right? Send it over to the tip line, and we can have our investigations and tag unit take a look into it, right? See what's going on. This is nice because it is email and text message accessible. It can all be accessed through our portal, through the website. I'll show you how to get to that as well. Here's when to call 911, right? If there is any sense of immediacy needed, right? If you want an officer there now, that second, call 911. Again, it's never a bother. If any officer gives you some gruff, send them over my way. I'm just kidding. That'll never happen. It gives us something to do, and we love to come out, right? It helps us, again, build our report system. We can ID the person, we can ID the car in past or future crimes. And again, if suspicious activity is currently active, if it's going on now, call 911. Don't call the non-emergency number, because that non-emergency number would be sent to our front desk, and that would send over to our dispatch, right? So it cuts out the middleman. Just call 911. Don't be afraid to do it. This is how our portal works to access the tip line online, right? So if you go on hoffmanestates.org, there is a government tab. It's going to open up a drop-down window for police. There's going to be a police tab right there. If you hover over that, that's going to open up a separate web page, and there's going to be a crime tips section right below with hyperlinks to emailing, numbers, things like that, how to use the tip line. This is what our tip line police tip line page looks like. The tip line number is listed right there. You can call or text. There is an email, policetips@hoffmanestates.org, and I believe that's sent to an investigation sergeant that monitors that. You may also use a Gov Q&A citizens request. I recently just got one of these requests as well, right? You could leave your information, phone number, or you can stay completely anonymous, and you can ask a simple question. The question I got was, hey, there's a lot of activity and noise in this certain area on these certain days. What's going on? I just went into our records, see what was going on, and then I emailed that person back, right? Simple as that. If you got a question, we're gladly to give you answers. Please note that the tip line is not monitored 24/7 and should not be used, again, to report a crime in progress, right? That's the biggest things I want you guys to take away, right? It's not for reporting crimes in progress, right? It's a good resource if you're noticing something weird constantly occurring in your own neighborhoods, right? All right, at this time, I'm going to pass it off back to our Chief Cawley.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Park. So we did this presentation a month ago, and our tax sergeant carries the phone for the tip line, and he said that he's been getting an enormous amount of calls of people saying, my brother got arrested, how much is bond, and stuff like that. So that is not what the tip line is for. Not that you guys would have family members arrested, I'm just saying. So, but thank you, Officer Park, for being specific about that. So one of the complaints that we received from people the last few months is about communication. And people felt that the police department could be better communicating what was going on in their neighborhood and just having that two-way communication. And that's part of the reason why we're doing this tonight. But some of the things that we're doing that's in the works and we've already started doing is on our webpage, we have this page now, which is called Police Transparency. So if you go under, again, the government tab, if you see police department, you'll see police transparency. And this is in the works, so it's live right now, but there's going to be some additional changes to it. The first tab you can see is press releases, so any press releases that go out, not necessarily just crime, but events that we notify the media about, all of those press releases will be attached to that page when you click on that. Crime statistics, this one is very much in the works. We have our old crime statistics up there from a year ago, but we're right now updating all of them, and we're going to have more things coming that will specify exactly where things are happening in town. So that is in the works, but that is coming. Upcoming events, a lot of people ask, you know, we do a lot of community events, a ton of community events. A lot of times people don't know about it. So this will be a page that you can go to and see what we're doing in the community, all the places that we're going and what's coming up. And then we have general complaints. So this is, we want to know when you are not happy with something that's going on, whether it be with the police department or just in your community. So general complaints will give you the option to say that there's an incident that occurred, or you made a police report, or there's a time and location of something that you want us to be aware of. A little different than the tip line, this is something that will go to myself and our assistant chiefs and Lieutenant Lawrence, who is on internal affairs. And this is something that we will investigate what that incident, what you're not happy about. This could be a complaint about an officer or an employee at the police department, but it also can just be something that is a concern for you. But we have that avenue. You can remain anonymous as well. The only thing I'm going to say is if you're anonymous, we can't get back to you. So, and I know a lot of people, we like to give you the outcome of what occurred when you have a complaint. So this is one thing that we're doing. Like I said, it's live right now, but there are some more changes coming to it. Crime alerts, live crime alerts is something we're also looking at. There's a way that we can text you if a road is closed or stay away from an area because something's going on. That's something that we're doing through our dispatch center, so that is in the works as well, but that is going to take a little while to get up and running. And then, like we said, community engagement. That's our neighborhood watch. I believe we have 2 neighborhood watch groups out west here, Matt. 2 live ones and 2 are in the works, correct? So 4 groups, and that's really impressive, I think, for this area. We have huge sections of town that we have no neighborhood watch groups, and we're trying to get them started. So it just shows that you guys are engaged in your neighborhood, and we thank you for that. So, like I said, our contact information is in the pamphlet there. We want you to communicate with us. We will get right back to you. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what your concerns are. So don't ever feel like you can't email us or call us, and we'll respond to that right away. So I don't know if the board has anything to say, and then we can open it up for questions.
Anybody on the board have any questions? Doesn't look that way. Anybody want to ask a question? Come up to the microphone. We are recording this, and it will be on our cable channel.
And anything is open. It doesn't have to be about this.
Any questions you have at all? Come on up.
I'm just curious how helpful the Ring doorbell cameras are to you. I mean, is it really, like when I look at it, sometimes it's not real clear. Is there something better that will help you?
Yeah, thank you. So the Ring doorbell is extremely helpful to us. Yes, I know sometimes I see the images. There's a neighbors app that you can go to that you can access. You do not have to have a Ring doorbell to go on the neighbors app, but you can go on there and access things that are going on in your community that the Ring doorbell captures and concerns that people have. Sometimes the image is not great. Sometimes we can't do anything with it, but what it does help us do, even in those instances, is it helps us determine what time maybe a car came by. So I know there was one on there the other day of we're looking for this car, because I guess the guy was out walking around houses and people were concerned. We can't make out what kind of car that is, but it alerts the neighbors through that neighbor's app that we're looking for a guy that was suspicious walking around, and it tells us exactly when it happened. So it helps us narrow down our patrols of being in that area and looking for that car again. People are a creature of habit. A lot of times they'll come back at the same time period. So we do find it helpful. The other thing that we have asked our communities to do is if you do have a Ring doorbell, we are able to reach out to you and ask you for any video that you have. So if we have a crime that occurred or an incident that we're looking into, we can reach out to you and say, we're looking for anything that you have on your Ring doorbell during this time period. And you can give it to us or not give it to us. But that is a very helpful tool that we have. So we like it. I don't know, there are other doorbells out there that do similar things, but I know that Ring doorbell is a very popular one.
Who's next? Anybody? Got all this talent here. Come on, Lon.
My first comment is my first item is I don't have a question so much, but you've identified some fraud alerts, and I know you don't expect that to be all of them, but I just wanted to make you aware of one that I've seen, I don't know how many times over the last 2 or 3 months, and that is from companies like Geek Squad, McAfee, Norton, who are saying, okay, we're renewing your 3-month, your 6-month subscription. And if you have a problem with that, call this number or hit this app, and those are all fraud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point. So a lot of companies, you'll say, I got an email from Amazon. So my dad's 84 years old, and he's constantly clicking on everything he can click on. And I'm like, Dad, please stop doing that. If Amazon says, we're checking your order, your $4,000 order, and you didn't order from Amazon, that's not accurate. Or go through your Amazon account to see if something is showing on there. But yes, it will come from companies that you think are valid companies, and it's not actually coming from that company. But yes, that's a good point.
And this is not directly related to what you've been talking about. Perhaps the traffic manager would be more appropriate, but when you're driving, I was driving down Gulf Road 3 days ago, and here comes a squad car with its lights on. What do? I pull over. It's followed by roughly 200, 300 motorcycles, all with their lights on, followed by a squad car with its lights on. Some kind of parade, I guess. I don't know what it was. What's the, I mean, then I got curious. Am I supposed to pull over for this type of thing?
So I'm not familiar with what that was, but it could have been a procession or something. Yes, we ask that you do. They're clearing the way for that to get through safely. So just get out of the way. That's what we're asking for.
And it
Yeah.
went on for quite a long time, and several cars pulled over, and then several cars were wondering, what do I do? And I
Right.
didn't know what the procedure was. You know, it's going the other way. It's not like so I was just curious.
So it's going the opposite direction. Is there a median in between you? Okay. Yeah, I mean, we just ask that you make room for them,
Okay.
not knowing what it is. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have a question? Come on up.
We have a lot of solicitors in our neighborhood, and they constantly ring the doorbell. And I'm to the point now where I don't even answer the door. I can't take it. Is there any way we can stop, like put up a no solicitors on the house, or what can we do?
Bev, the village clerk is the expert.
Yeah, do you have a no solicitor sign?
I don't.
Okay, we'll talk later. I'll mail you one out tomorrow. When any solicitor comes, like Matt said, they have to be badged, they have to have their license. Somebody comes up to your door, I know they're annoying, but if somebody comes up to your door and you have that no solicitor sign, that's one of the things they're not supposed to do. And that's on our rules and regulations. Again, what number do you call? 911. Call 911, it might be petty, but they're out there, they're breaking the rules. And if they're breaking the rules, they're probably ones that aren't licensed to be soliciting. Because I don't care for solicitors. Rick, don't put that in there, cut that out tomorrow.
Can't do that.
I don't like solicitors, I don't answer my door. I've been told by legal it's somebody doing their job, and we can't prohibit them from doing their job. So give me your name and address, I'll go ahead and mail you out the no solicitor sign. If they're annoying, if they keep coming back and you've told them no, that's another thing that they can't do. 911, get them out of there. Get them out of
So
there.
if you have a no solicitor sign, they shouldn't even be ringing the doorbell?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
So it needs to be prominently displayed.
Trustee Gata can mention the two exceptions.
Yeah, the thing is though, and,
Are you on?
am I on?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, be a bit closer. As far as soliciting people, there are two organizations, okay, that can knock on the door even though they have a solicitation sign on it. And one is religion and the other is politics, you know, if they're campaigning for it. All right? Those are the only two, but other than that, you're right 100%. In fact, I think Haverford, we have it almost on every house that I know. And that's good advice. If you see something like that, right, just mention it to them. If they don't turn around, you call 911 immediately. All right, and go from there.
Thank you. And I'll see you after.
Yes, he's good.
Another question? Anybody?
There has to be questions.
Hey, you got the police chief and all this brass here. And then most of the village board here is far away.
The president, go ahead.
I'd like to just make sure everybody be safe, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Since you're the president of Haverford Place, do you have any questions to ask any of us or the police department? Or the fire department? I saw Chief Wax there.
No, I really don't. We do have a meeting at Haverford Place on October 18th to talk about safety and neighborhood watch, and Jerry's going to be managing that meeting, so but I don't have any specific questions right now.
Okay, thank you.
But I do appreciate you supporting our pool party. We had a nice show up for that.
That was a great party. Anyone else?
Do we know what this village identification card looks like? The one that the vendors are supposed to have?
All the solicitor ones?
Yeah.
I talk loud, but Rick can't get me on the thing. Yeah, there's a bug here. It's just a small badge, and it's got their ID on, or their picture on there, and it's got the chief's signature, but it's really my signature with her name in there. But they also have a license that's this size, 8.5 by 11, or whatever the size paper is. And that's signed by the mayor and myself. And they have to, if you request to see it, they have to show it to you. And that's another thing that we tell them. You have to have this present with you at all times, and you have to have your ID badge visible. And it's one of those little clip-on things. If they refuse to do it, they probably don't have it.
We could get a sample and maybe put that
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I'll do it.
We'll put it on
Yeah.
the website.
If there's an image of it.
Yeah.
Yes, Lon, do you want to use the microphone?
Well, I was just gonna say, put a sample in the website, they can print it out.
I'll go ahead and stamp copy on there.
Yeah. You can't fool Bev.
Yeah,
She's been doing this a long time.
I've been around the block.
Anyone else?
There's no traffic complaints. I find that hard to believe.
You got a complaint about a train?
Yeah.
I didn't take that into an account for my travel time.
The train wasn't speeding, though.
No.
Go ahead, sir.
I didn't think this was a forum for complaints, but more questions.
We're open.
We live in Amber Meadows, and Essex Drive seems to have become a racetrack. In particular, there's one person on a high-powered motorcycle who actually we haven't seen in a while, or heard in a while. But they are literally racing at really high speed up and down. They loop around at the end of Essex Drive by the traffic circle, come back up to Shoe Factory, turn around again, and just keep making that loop 2 or 3 times before they ride off someplace.
Do you happen to know where the person on the motorcycle lives?
I don't yet, and that's why I haven't called to report it. You know, they're gone by the time we even look out the window.
Okay, I believe Essex Drive is one of our extra patrols, if I remember correctly. If not, we'll put it on the list. I know we have 3 areas that we have extra patrols out here. What we do is typically if we have a complaint about traffic, we'll, again, just saturate that area with officers. Sometimes we'll do speed studies, so sometimes you won't see somebody out there, but we make that a priority.
That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Do that.
Is there a time that it's more likely to happen, or does it happen any time of day?
It's late afternoon, evening. This particular motorcycle incident is usually later into the evening, probably between 8 and 11 at night.
It happened at 5 o'clock last week.
Oh, really? Okay.
Anyone else? Come on up.
I was involved in a car accident a couple of years ago on Beverly. And what I've noticed is that cars coming off the expressway stop, go, stop, go. I mean, they never stop. You know, it says no turn on red. And they're just constantly going through there. And it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I don't know what can be done about it.
The exit off at Beverly, you're
Right,
talking, okay.
off the expressway. And I mean, the sign couldn't be any bigger. It's as big as that. That says no turn on red. But just constantly.
Okay.
It would be a perfect revenue source.
We are not into revenue, we are into changing behavior. So, but yes, we will, we'll let our...
Because, I mean, we see it constantly. Every time we go that way, I say, here they come. Trucks turn, everybody turns. They never stop.
Yeah, we had that problem on 59 as well, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's dangerous. You know, that road, that whole stretch right there along Beverly is dangerous there.
Okay, thank you for letting us know.
Need a louder horn.
Sorry, I have one more question.
It's okay.
What are the rules on fireworks?
You can't have one.
I wish my neighbors knew that. I mean, they shoot these things off in their backyards.
On the 4th of July weekend or all the time?
Mostly on holiday weekends, like
Okay.
Labor Day, July 4th, New Year's.
Well, call us. I know, you know, it's the 4th of July, we're obviously running from firework to firework call, but don't not call us, and we will, and especially if it's not on, you know, if it's some random time, it's even easier for us to get there and identify it.
Okay. These aren't just sparklers. These are like
Fireworks.
Yeah, these are big. Okay, will do.
Okay, anyone else? No other questions? Oh yeah, come on up, sir.
So this is for the board, on the subject of the train. What's going on with the second track over there? Or the clearing of the land? I know there was all that all that noise going on, and then the pandemic hit, and I haven't gotten an email in a couple of years. I know that you guys familiar with it, or do we need to?
Oh yeah, I remember when they wanted to do that.
Yeah, it was
Do you
like,
remember exactly what happened, Archie Nora?
I remember the Army Corps was involved, and they had some objections, and that was kind of the last thing that I remember from that.
Now, the second track,
Just go back to there.
I guess I'm the train man.
Yep.
The second track was a siding, and it was extended because they wanted to bring longer trains through, and so they needed an extended siding track. And as you know, all of the trains are regulated by the National Surface Transportation Board, and they did get approval of that. But that's why the second track is there.
So even with the Army Corps' objections, they were able to get the SPB on board, apparently?
Yes. I mean, you know, I mean, from the time of Lincoln, I guess railroads have been pretty influential, and they still are. And, you know, hauling a good percentage of the freight throughout the whole nation, and that's what it is. But that second track is not a through track. That's a siding track.
Thank you.
Yeah, the village had opposed that, and we had the Senators Duckworth and Durbin, but as our Corporation Council Adjourned said, the railroads have a lot of power. Given to them 170 years ago, they wanted to get the Continental Railroad. And so they gave them a lot of authority, a lot of land. Anyone else? No more questions? Okay, if nobody has anything else, does the board want to add anything, Mr. Paul?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, nothing else, the chair take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, we have any discussion? See no discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, we are adjourned. I want to thank everybody for coming, I hope you found it informative. And you got a lot of email addresses and some good tips that you can take advantage of.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.